Welcome back, fellow seekers of the shadows. You've tuned into Stories of Crime, the place where the veil between the mundane and the monstrous is brutally ripped away. Tonight, we aren't just reading a report. We are opening a file, marked top priority, tucked away in the darkest corner of the archives. We're going to step across that chalk line and peer into the void, where human nature meets its most terrifying extremes. In this hour, the street lights flicker, the shadows deepen, and the truth is often far more chilling than any fiction you could invent. Forget the heroes. Tonight, we focus on the villains. On the motives that curdle the blood, and the consequences that echo forever. So, dim the lights. Lock your doors. Take a deep, steadying breath, because once the story begins, there's no turning back. This is Stories of Crime. And the case we're unfolding tonight is 25 Ghost Stories. Look, the chill in the air. Welcome, dear listener, to a journey not just into the pages of 25 ghost stories, but into the very fabric of your own perception. Tonight, we don't merely read, we experience. We don't just hear tales, we invite them in, allowing their subtle tendrils of unease to weave through the quiet corners of our minds. This is not a book for the faint of heart, nor for those who cling too tightly to the comfort of the mundane. This is an invitation to explore the shadows, to question the boundaries of what is real, and to feel that delicious, prickling sensation that arises when the veil between worlds thins just enough for something else to slip through. Prepare to open your senses, not just to the stories themselves, but to the atmosphere we meticulously construct around them. For a truly unforgettable ghost story is not just told, it is felt. It wraps around you like a shroud, a whisper in the dark, a shiver down your spine that lingers long after the final word has faded. We begin, as all good hauntings do, with the atmosphere. The strategic deployment of a soundscape, particularly one featuring elements like a howling wind and the creaking, groaning symphony of an old house settling into its foundations, serves as an immediate, visceral entry point into the narrative's core. It's an auditory illusion, designed not merely to be heard, but to be absorbed, to bypass the rational mind and tap directly into our primal anxieties and subconscious associations. The howling wind is a classic atmospheric trope, signifying isolation, exposure, and the relentless, indifferent power of nature. It can sound like a mournful wail, a predatory snarl, or the very breath of an unseen entity, pushing against the fragile walls of our perceived safety. Its unpredictable surges and lulls create a dynamic sense of tension, suggesting that something is always just outside, always pushing to get in. Complementing this, the sounds of an old house settling, the groans of ancient timbers, the subtle creaks of floorboards under unseen weight, the gentle but persistent ticking and clicking sounds that resonate within aged structures transform the inanimate into something eerily animate. These aren't just sounds of a building aging, they become the sounds of a dwelling breathing, murmuring, perhaps even sighing with secrets untold. They are the sonic fingerprint of a place with history, a place where countless lives have unfolded, leaving energetic imprints. This combination creates an immediate sense of vulnerability and encroachment, positioning the listener not as a passive observer, but as a temporary inhabitant of a space that is actively alive, and potentially aware. The soundscape initiates the suspension of disbelief instantly, bypassing lengthy exposition and plunging the listener directly into the emotional and psychological landscape of the story to come. It's less about depicting reality and more about crafting a mood, a feeling of being utterly alone yet profoundly watched. Consider classic horror films or radio dramas. Think of the opening scene in Shirley Jackson's The Haunting of Hill House adapted into film, where the house itself seems to groan and shift with malicious intent, often accompanied by the wail of the wind outside, rattling windows. Or the masterful use of ambient sound in podcasts like Lore by Aaron Mank, where subtle, unnerving background tracks barely perceptible at times underscore the chilling narratives. Imagine sitting in a dimly lit room, perhaps during a storm. The wind outside isn't just a weather phenomenon, it becomes a character in itself, a constant, unseen presence. The sudden, sharp rap against a window pane, the prolonged moan of the chimney, or the barely audible creak from the upstairs floorboards, these are not just benign occurrences. In that specific context, your mind automatically attributes them to something more sinister, more intentional. A real-world example of this manipulative power is how architects and sound designers create immersive experiences in themed attractions or Introduction. Welcome to the shadows. Welcome to the quiet corners of the mind, to the chill that creeps unbidden up the spine, and to the shadows where secrets whisper. You are about to embark on a journey not through sunlit meadows or bustling cityscapes, but into the haunted corridors of human experience, guided by the flickering lamp of timeless tales. Tonight, we gather not for comfort, but for contemplation, not for sleep, but for awakening to the spectral possibilities that lie just beyond our perception. Prepare to venture forth, if you dare, into the very heart of the unexplained, where the veil between worlds thins to an almost imperceptible gauze, and the past refuses to stay buried. This is more than just a collection of stories, it is an invitation to confront the echoes of dread, to witness the quiet terror that can reside in the most ordinary of settings, and to ponder the profound mysteries that haunt our very existence. I am your host, your guide through these unsettling narratives, and in a very real sense, your curator of the macabre. My role is not merely to introduce you to these stories, but to prepare you for them, to provide context and insight, ensuring that each chilling encounter resonates with its intended power. Think of me as the quiet figure who walks ahead of you down a long, dark hallway, pointing out the subtle shifts in the shadows, the faint, almost imperceptible drafts, and the distant, muffled sounds that might otherwise escape your notice. I am here to illuminate the intricate mechanics of fear, the psychological underpinnings of terror, and the enduring allure of the supernatural. My aim is to enrich your listening experience, transforming it from a passive reception of words into an active engagement with the profound and often disturbing truths these tales unveil. I've spent countless hours poring over these texts, dissecting their structure, savoring their language, and contemplating their lasting impact on the human psyche. This is not a casual stroll through a pleasant garden, this is a meticulous exploration of a forgotten crypt, and I possess the knowledge to guide you safely, or perhaps, not so safely, through its labyrinthine passages. Why does this particular perspective, that of a curator, matter? Because these are not disposable anecdotes. They are artifacts, preserved specimens of literary craftsmanship, each telling a story not just about ghosts, but about the era in which they were conceived, the anxieties that plagued their authors, and the enduring human fascination with what lies beyond. A curator protects, presents, and interprets. I protect the integrity of these stories by ensuring their historical and thematic context is understood. I present them with the reverence they deserve, allowing their unique voices to be heard clearly. And I interpret their deeper meanings, helping you to unlock the psychological complexities and societal reflections embedded within them. Without this guidance, some of the nuances, the subtle social critiques, or the profound philosophical questions might be lost amidst the immediate thrill of the supernatural. My curation adds layers of appreciation, transforming mere entertainment into a richer, more thought-provoking engagement. It elevates the experience from a simple scare to a deeper understanding of the human condition in the face of the unknown. Tonight, we delve into the classic collection of W. Bob Holland, 25 Ghost Stories. This isn't just any compilation, it is a meticulously assembled anthology that stands as a testament to the enduring power of the ghost story genre, particularly within the fertile soil of the Victorian and Edwardian eras. Holland, a master of his craft, possessed an uncanny ability to select and arrange tales that not only thrilled but also resonated with deeper psychological and philosophical concerns. His work is celebrated for its commitment to the atmospheric, the psychological, and the subtly terrifying, rather than relying on overt gore or cheap jump scares. These are stories that build, that insinuate, that crawl under you. Chapter 1: The Black Cat, Edgar Allan Poe. Welcome, dear listeners, to a journey into the shadows of the human psyche, a realm where the most terrifying monsters often reside not in dark alleys or haunted houses, but within the very core of our own beings. Tonight, we open the door to a classic tale of psychological horror and profound guilt, a story that peels back the veneer of civility to expose the raw, festering wounds of depravity. We delve into Edgar Allan Poe's chilling masterpiece, The Black Cat, the inaugural chapter in our collection of 25 ghost stories, though its true terror is far more insidious than a mere spectral apparition. This isn't a story of things that go bump in the night in the traditional sense. It's a terrifying exploration of the things that fester in the quiet, forgotten corners of the human heart, those dark impulses that, once unleashed, devour everything in their path, leaving only ruin and a haunting, inescapable echo of what once was. Prepare yourselves, for we are about to confront the abyss, not in a distant, fantastical land, but in the very mundane, unsettling reality of a man's self-destruction, a destruction wrought by his own hands and fueled by his own unraveling mind. Our protagonist, initially presented as a gentle, animal-loving man, embarks on a chilling descent into alcoholism and pervasive perversity. This isn't a sudden, dramatic fall, but rather an insidious, creeping rot that infiltrates his character, transforming him from a benevolent figure into a malevolent one, a transformation as subtle as it is devastating. Let's unpack this gradual, agonizing journey into depravity. Conceptually, Poe masterfully illustrates how addiction, particularly alcoholism, can act as a catalyst, stripping away a person's inherent empathy and moral compass, leaving behind a distorted shadow of their former self. The story begins with the narrator professing a profound love for animals, a sentiment described as almost bordering on reverence. This initial portrayal is crucial. It establishes a baseline of goodness, making his subsequent actions all the more shocking and tragic. However, as the narrative progresses, the insidious tendrils of alcohol begin to tighten their grip. His temperament sours, his affection for his pets, once boundless, curdles into irritation, then outright malice. The subtle shifts are key. First, a mere annoyance, then a verbal lash-out, then a physical strike, each step a small but significant surrender to the encroaching darkness. This isn't merely about drunkenness, it's about the profound psychological transformation that accompanies chronic addiction, a process where inhibitions are shed, rationality is distorted, and the capacity for cruelty is shockingly amplified. He begins to see the animals, especially his beloved black cat, Pluto, not as companions, but as sources of irritation, objects upon which to project his growing internal turmoil and self-loathing. The perverseness Poe speaks of isn't just simple wickedness, it's a deeper, more unsettling urge to do wrong for the sake of doing wrong, even when it runs contrary to one's own self-interest or deepest desires. It's the impulse to destroy what one loves, an irrational, self-destructive force that transcends mere anger or resentment. Consider a real-world parallel, far removed from the dramatic intensity of Poe's narrative, but illustrative of the core principle. Imagine an individual, once known for their patience and even temper, who, under the persistent strain of stress or untreated anxiety, begins to lash out at those closest to them. Perhaps they start with seemingly minor aggressions, cutting remarks, dismissive gestures, a heightened irritability over trivial matters. Initially, these might be rationalized as a temporary lapse, a response to external pressures. But if left unchecked, if the underlying issues are ignored, these small transgressions can escalate. The person might find themselves deriving a perverse satisfaction from the power they exert in these moments, even as they simultaneously feel remorse. The line between Chapter 2, The Flayed Hand, Guy de Maupassant. Welcome, dear listeners, to Chapter 2 of our journey into the chilling depths of 25 ghost stories. Tonight, we delve into Guy de Maupassant's unsettling tale, The Flayed Hand, a narrative that masterfully explores the potent and terrifying concept of physical manifestations of a curse. Imagine, if you will, an object, seemingly innocuous, yet imbued with an ancient, malevolent power, a relic of a past transgression, awaiting its moment to unleash dread upon the unsuspecting. Maupassant, with his characteristic precision and psychological insight, takes us into a world where the inanimate becomes terribly animate, where the lines between the living and the dead blur with a truly horrifying intimacy. Our story begins in an unassuming apartment, yet it is here that Maupassant plants the seed of our terror. The protagonist, a young man named Pierre, visits his friend, a judge who possesses a rather macabre curiosity. This judge, a collector of the unusual and the grotesque, displays within his study an item that immediately seizes the imagination and twists the stomach: a dried human hand, flayed and shriveled, repurposed as a bell pull. Let's pause and truly absorb the chilling implications of this object. Conceptually, the grotesque, dried human hand used as a bell pull serves several powerful narrative functions. It immediately establishes a sense of the uncanny, a term coined by Sigmund Freud to describe that which is simultaneously familiar and alien, comforting and terrifying. A human hand, a part of our own anatomy, yet detached, preserved, and then transformed into a utilitarian object, a bell pull, crosses a profound psychological boundary. It defies the natural order, turning something sacred, the human form, into something profane and mundane, all while retaining its inherent, unsettling humanity. This act of desecration, even if only perceived, is central to the horror. It's a memento mori taken to an extreme, not merely a reminder of death, but a physical fragment of it, integrated into daily life. It challenges our sensibilities, pushing the boundaries of what is acceptable and what is deeply taboo. The very act of touching it, pulling it to summon a servant, would be a constant, unsettling reminder of mortality and violation. For a practical example, think of the historical cabinets of curiosities, or Wunderkammern, popular among European aristocrats and scholars from the 16th to 18th centuries. These collections often included naturalia, natural history specimens, sometimes preserved in unusual ways, artificialia, man-made artifacts, and scientific instruments. While many items were beautiful or educational, some veered into the macabre, incorporating human or animal remains, skeletons, or preserved organs. Imagine encountering such a collection, where amidst ancient coins and exotic taxidermy, you find a human skull used as a desk ornament, or perhaps, as in Maupassant's tale, a hand serving a functional purpose. The shock is not just in its existence, but in its placement, in a domestic, scholarly, or otherwise normal environment. The judge in the flayed hand embodies this collector's fascination with the unusual, but his choice of object, and its specific function, elevates it from mere curiosity to an active affront against nature, almost daring fate to respond. Why it matters? The bell pull hand is far more than just a gruesome prop. It is the physical embodiment of the story's central transgression and its subsequent curse. It symbolizes a defiance of natural law, an objectification of the deceased, and a profound disrespect for the sanctity of human remains. This defiance is a challenge, an invitation for supernatural retribution. Psychologically, it matters because it immediately primes the reader or listener for horror. It establishes the macabre tone and foreshadows the violent events to come. It's not just grotesque for shock value, it's a statement about the inherent wrongness of the act, and the potential for that wrongness to bleed into reality. The hand, originally belonging to Chapter 3, The Vengeance of a Tree. Welcome back, dear listeners, to 25 Ghost Stories. In our previous chapters, we've explored the lingering echoes of the past, the spectral imprints of human emotion on the world. But today, we venture into a realm where the very earth beneath our feet, the silent, enduring sentinels of the landscape, awaken to exact a terrible justice. Today, we confront Chapter 3, The Vengeance of a Tree. This particular chapter, The Vengeance of a Tree, pulls us into a primal narrative, one that speaks to our deepest, most ancient fears and respect for the natural world. It's a story not just of a haunting, but of nature's profound retribution, a chilling concept that resonates with the ancient belief in animism. What exactly is animism? It is the profound conviction that objects, places, and creatures all possess a distinct spiritual essence, a living soul. It's the understanding that the rustling leaves, the flowing river, the immovable stone, and yes, the towering tree, are not merely inert matter but active, conscious participants in the cosmic dance of existence. For millennia, humanity understood the world through this lens, seeing spirits in the thunder, intentions in the wind, and a watchful consciousness within the very fabric of the earth. This isn't merely a quaint historical belief, it's a powerful framework that fundamentally shapes how we perceive our relationship with the environment. When we begin to consider nature not as a resource to be exploited or a backdrop for human drama, but as a living, breathing entity with its own will and capacity for response, then the idea of nature's retribution ceases to be mere superstition and becomes a terrifying possibility. The vengeance of a tree, therefore, is not an isolated incident of supernatural anomaly, but a powerful echo of this ancient, deeply ingrained understanding. It's a story designed to make us pause, to reconsider our dominion, and to acknowledge the potent, patient power of the world around us. This idea matters profoundly because it challenges our modern, often anthropocentric worldview, forcing us to confront the possibility that the world isn't just reacting to us physically, but perhaps spiritually, emotionally, even vengefully. It's a cautionary tale whispered through the ages, reminding us that every action has a consequence, and sometimes, the silent witnesses of nature are the ones who remember the longest, and punish the most severely. Let's delve now into the core elements of this chilling narrative, beginning with the protagonist of our story, the ancient, imposing tree itself. First, we must set the scene of this ancient, imposing tree. Imagine it, if you will, not merely as a collection of wood and leaves, but as a monumental being, a sentinel that has stood for centuries, perhaps even millennia. Conceptual explanation. In folklore and mythology across countless cultures, the ancient tree is a recurring, potent archetype. These are not merely passive botanical specimens, they are witnesses, repositories of time, memory keepers of the earth. They are often viewed as sacred entities, symbols of life, death, and profound knowledge. Their sheer age grants them an almost mythical status, their silent watch absorbing the passage of human generations, the rise and fall of empires, the countless whispers and cries that have echoed beneath their boughs. These trees exude a palpable presence, a deep-seated energy that is both awe-inspiring and, in some contexts, deeply unsettling. Their roots delve deep into the earth, metaphorically connecting them to the underworld, to the forgotten dead, and to the primal forces beneath the soil. Simultaneously, their branches reach skyward, intertwining with the heavens, making them conduits for cosmic energies and spiritual insight. This duality rooted in the deep earth, reaching for the ethereal sky transforms them into powerful mediators between realms, making them potent loci for spiritual events, both benevolent and malevolent. They are the elders of the landscape, often believed to possess wisdom, to observe. Chapter 4: The Parlor Car Ghost. Welcome back, dear listeners, as we journey further into the spectral archives of 25 ghost stories. Tonight, we pull into the station for Chapter 4, a fascinating tale titled The Parlor Car Ghost. Imagine, if you will, the hum of a powerful locomotive, the rhythmic clickety-clack of wheels on steel tracks, carrying passengers across vast distances, often through the inky blackness of a moonless night. In an era increasingly defined by innovation and speed, where steam and iron promised to conquer wild frontiers and connect distant worlds, the idea of a haunting might seem an anachronism. Yet, it is precisely within these symbols of human progress that some of the most chilling and unexpected encounters with the supernatural have been reported. The very machines designed to whisk us away from the mundane, from the familiar, can sometimes become vessels for the extraordinary, for the inexplicable. These are not the moldering manor houses or forgotten graveyards we often associate with apparitions. No, these are the polished brass and plush velvet of a moving parlor car, a space designed for comfort and the illusion of safety. But what happens when the veil between worlds thins not in a static, ancient place, but in a dynamic, modern conveyance speeding through the night? How do we reconcile the rational mechanics of a train journey with the utterly irrational presence of a spirit? This chapter invites us to explore the unique terror of encountering a phantom aboard a machine that, by its very nature, represents the pinnacle of human ingenuity against the mysteries of the unknown. It challenges our perceptions, reminding us that no matter how far we advance, some mysteries remain just beyond the reach of our understanding, ready to manifest in the most unexpected of places. It asks us to consider whether the hurried passage of life itself, mirrored by the train's relentless journey, might leave echoes, residual impressions, or perhaps even conscious entities, clinging to the very vehicles that transport the living. Our exploration begins by meticulously establishing the setting of a moving train at night. This isn't merely a backdrop, it is an active participant in the unfolding drama. Think of it as a meticulously crafted stage, designed to amplify tension and isolate its occupants. The very concept of constant, relentless motion creates a unique psychological environment. We are in transit, neither truly here nor there, suspended between departure and arrival. This liminal state, combined with the inherent isolation of being encased in a metal tube hurtling through darkness, primes the mind for unusual perceptions. The rhythmic sounds, the clatter, the whistle, the sway, become a hypnotic drone, blurring the edges of reality. The windows, reflecting the interior rather than revealing the outside world, transform into dark mirrors, trapping our gaze within the confined space. This environment fosters a sense of claustrophobia and vulnerability, stripping away the comforts of the static world and exposing us to the vast, unseen beyond. Consider the real-world experience of riding an overnight train. The lights outside become fleeting blurs, indistinguishable forms that rush past, emphasizing the train's speed and our detachment from the stationary world. Inside, the artificial glow of the lamps casts long, dancing shadows, distorting familiar objects. The subtle vibrations through the floor, the gentle rocking motion, can lull passengers into a semi-dream state, making them more susceptible to suggestion, more prone to misinterpreting sights and sounds. A coat draped over a seat might momentarily appear as a slumped figure. The creaking of the carriage could sound like a whispered word. This isn't about conjuring ghosts but about understanding how the sensory input of a train journey can genuinely alter our perception of reality, making the strange seem plausible and the mundane seem eerie. The train, in its essence, becomes a temporary microcosm, detached from the rational world outside. Why does this SPE? Chapter 5, The Ghost of Misery Hill. Welcome back, listeners, to 25 Ghost Stories. In our previous chapters, we've journeyed through ancient manor houses and whispered secrets of forgotten towns. Today, we turn our gaze towards a different kind of frontier, a landscape etched by ambition and carved by human desire, the American West. It's a place synonymous with expansion, with rugged individualism, and, perhaps more potently, with the relentless pursuit of wealth. The very mention of the word gold would ignite a fever in the hearts of countless men and women, driving them to abandon settled lives, to brave unimaginable hardships, and to gamble everything on a single, glittering promise. This fever, this insatiable hunger for the motherlode, often pushed individuals beyond the bounds of sanity, blurring the lines between hope and desperation. It is within this crucible of avarice and unforgiving wilderness that our next tale unfolds, a story not just of a discovery, but of a curse, an enduring spectral presence bound to the very earth by the weight of human folly. We delve now into Chapter 5, The Ghost of Misery Hill. The allure of the American West, especially during the great gold and silver rushes, was a siren song that drew millions. But beneath the romantic veneer of prospectors striking it rich lay a stark, unforgiving reality. Picture, if you will, a desolate mining camp. This wasn't a quaint village or a bustling town, it was a temporary scar on the landscape, an agglomeration of hastily erected tents, crude shacks fashioned from whatever timber or canvas could be scavenged, clinging precariously to the rugged slopes of a mountain. The air itself hung heavy, thick with the scent of dust, sweat, and unfulfilled dreams. Day in and day out, the relentless clang of pickaxes against rock echoed through the canyon, a monotonous, hypnotic rhythm that chipped away not just at the earth, but at the sanity of those who toiled within its grasp. Conceptual explanation: a desolate mining camp is more than just a collection of buildings, it is an environment stripped bare of comfort, civility, and often, hope. It's a place where the human spirit is tested to its absolute limits, where the primary motivator is survival intertwined with the elusive promise of immense wealth. The landscape itself is harsh: extreme weather, rocky terrain, scarce resources, and the constant threat of collapse, whether of the mine shaft or of one's own resolve. These camps were designed for utility, not for living. They were transient spaces, reflecting the impermanence of the fortunes they sought to extract, and the fleeting nature of the lives dedicated to that pursuit. Every structure, every pathway, every discarded tool spoke volumes of a frantic, single-minded quest. The very ground was often disturbed, churned, and scarred, mirroring the internal turmoil of its inhabitants. Real-world practical example: consider the early days of the California gold rush, particularly in remote areas of the Sierra Nevada mountains or the desolate stretches of Nevada's Comstock Lode. Towns like Bodie, California, or those that sprang up around the Cripple Creek district in Colorado, though they eventually grew, began as desperate, isolated outposts. Early miners lived in conditions that would shock modern sensibilities. Imagine living in a dugout hole or a lean-to made of canvas and branches, battling freezing temperatures in winter and scorching heat in summer. Food was scarce and often monotonous. Diseases like scurvy and dysentery were rampant, and basic hygiene was a luxury. Loneliness was a constant companion, exacerbated by the vast, empty spaces between settlements. News was slow to arrive, if at all, and the outside world often felt like a distant memory. This wasn't merely roughing it, it was a continuous battle against nature, against starvation, and against the mounting psychological pressure of endless, fruitless labor. Men died from accidents, disease, and despair with alarming frequency, often buried in unmarked graves, leaving behind only their tools and their unful. Chapters 6 to 10, Spirits of the Household. Welcome, my friends, to another deep dive into the spectral realm, as we continue our exploration of 25 ghost stories. Today, we step across the threshold into a particularly intimate and often unsettling territory, chapters 6 to 10, Spirits of the Household. This segment is dedicated entirely to domestic hauntings and the eerie phenomenon of cursed objects, those subtle, persistent echoes of the past that cling to the very fabric of our homes and the items within them. Imagine, for a moment, the quiet solace of your own dwelling. It is a place of comfort, of security, a sanctuary from the outside world. But what if that sanctuary held secrets? What if the walls themselves whispered tales of sorrow or joy, of lives long lived and sometimes, tragically, lives cut short? This is the essence of household spirits. They are not the shadowy figures that stalk abandoned roads or desolate moors. No, these are entities intimately tied to the hearth, to the possessions, to the very air we breathe within our most personal spaces. They are the unseen residents, the lingering presences that remind us that history is not just read in books, but is felt, sometimes profoundly, in the very floorboards beneath our feet. We will explore the chilling elegance of architectural dread, the poignant tragedy of trapped spirits, and the unsettling thought that even the most mundane objects might become conduits for the supernatural. Prepare to re-evaluate the comfort of your own home, for once you understand the spirits of the household, you may never look at a familiar chair or an antique mirror the same way again. Let us begin with the old mansion, a classic archetype in the landscape of the supernatural. The conceptual explanation here lies in architectural dread itself, the idea that a building, through its sheer age, its intricate design, its very bones, can absorb and radiate the emotional energies of those who have lived within its walls. It's not just a structure of brick and mortar, it's a living testament to generations, each leaving an indelible psychic stain. The grandeur, the hidden passages, the forgotten attics, the echoing stairwells, all contribute to an atmosphere ripe for lingering presences. This isn't about a singular event, it's about a cumulative history that saturates the very air. Consider the practical example of Blackwood Manor, nestled deep within a perpetually shadowed valley. Built in the late 17th century, its dark timber beams groaned under the weight of time, its stone walls perpetually damp and cold. Generations of the Blackwood family had lived and died within its confines, their portraits with unsettlingly lifelike eyes lining the vast, drafty corridors. Visitors often reported a pervasive sense of melancholy, a tangible weight in the air that pressed down on their chests. A constant, faint weeping was heard from the nursery on the third floor, even though it had been empty for a century. The library, filled with countless ancient tomes, always felt 2 degrees colder than the rest of the house, and the scent of pipe tobacco, long unused, occasionally wafted from an invisible source. The grand ballroom, where countless galas and tragedies had unfolded, would sometimes fill with the phantom rustle of silk and the faint strains of a harpsichord, only to fall silent the moment a listener dared to approach. The manor itself seemed to breathe, to sigh, a colossal entity holding onto every joy, every despair, every secret whispered within its confines. Why does this matter? Why does the idea of an old mansion, laden with history, resonate so deeply with our fear of the unknown? Because it speaks to the enduring power of place. It suggests that events, especially traumatic ones, can leave an energetic imprint, a resonance that transcends physical time. A mansion isn't merely a backdrop for a ghost story, it is an active participant, a silent witness that holds onto the echoes of the past. It challenges our perception of inanimate objects and spaces, forcing us to consider them as repositories of memory. Chapters 11 to 15, Spectres of War and Tragedy. Welcome back, listeners, to 25 Ghost Stories. In chapters 11 through 15, Spectres of War and Tragedy, we step beyond quiet mansions, venturing into the grim realities of human conflict. Here, raw echoes of cannons, sorrowful cries of the fallen, and profound, lingering grief bind restless spirits to our mortal coil. War is not merely a clash of armies, it's a shattering of countless lives, a rending of families, and a crucible for the human spirit. The sheer scale of trauma, abruptness of death, and unfulfilled duties of soldiers collectively create uniquely fertile ground for paranormal manifestations. We'll deeply explore how historical trauma, the visceral experience of battle, and deep emotional scars forge some of the most persistent and poignant specters known to folklore. These aren't just spooky tales, they are history's desperate pleas, whispered through the veil, reminding us of immense sacrifices, unbreakable promises, and conflicts enduring heartbreaking cost. Prepare yourselves, for we are about to encounter the truly restless soldiers, chilling phantom armies, and heart-wrenching echoes of families forever waiting. Our journey begins with what might be the most iconic and chilling manifestation of war's aftermath, the battlefield ghost, vividly captured in the shadow of the sword. Conceptual explanation: battlefield ghosts are typically understood as either residual hauntings or intelligent spirits intrinsically tied to sites of intense, violent combat. They are often perceived as endlessly reenacting their final moments, tirelessly patrolling forgotten lines, or simply existing in a perpetual state of confusion and deep distress. The sheer psychic energy, the collective terror, the profound pain, and the raw anger unleashed in battle, creates an almost indelible imprint on the very land itself. It's as if the earth itself remembers, absorbing the tragedy and eerily playing it back for those attuned to its whispers. These spirits are frequently seen in period attire, sometimes bearing visible, ghastly wounds, forever locked in the grim ballet of their last earthly experience. Their spectral presence serves as a stark, silent memorial to human suffering, a chilling, spectral testament to the brutal reality of armed conflict. They are the eternal witnesses, the unquiet dead who cannot, or simply will not, move on from the moment their lives were irrevocably altered. Real-world practical example: perhaps no place exemplifies this more vividly than Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, a pivotal battlefield of the American Civil War. Visitors and seasoned paranormal investigators alike recount myriad eerie experiences there. Imagine standing on Little Round Top at dusk, the very air growing heavy with an unseen weight, and suddenly perceiving the faint, metallic scent of gunpowder, a scent that hasn't permeated the air there in well over a century and a half. Or picture individuals reporting encounters with spectral Confederate or Union soldiers, sometimes hearing muffled commands or distant, sorrowful cries, even seeing figures emerge from the tree line only to vanish into thin air just moments later. There are consistent reports of ghostly encounters at Devil's Den, a rocky outcrop where fierce fighting occurred, with apparitions of soldiers in gray or blue uniforms, sometimes appearing to ask for help, sometimes merely marching past, their faces etched with the profound weariness of war. The emotional residue from July 1863 is so profound that it seems to seep into the present, allowing tangible, unsettling glimpses of those who fell. Why it matters, the existence of battlefield ghosts, whether understood as true sentient spirits or as a powerful form of residual energy, holds profound significance for our understanding of history and the human condition. They force us to confront the lasting impact of war, long after the last shot is fired and the treaties are signed. They are a constant, unsettling reminder that violence has consequences that ripple through generations and perhaps even across dimension. Chapters 16 to 20, The Unseen and the Uncanny. Welcome back, dear listener, to 25 Ghost Stories, where we delve into the spectral tapestry of the unknown. As we journey deeper into the supernatural, we often find ourselves confronting not just the specters that materialize before our eyes, but the far more insidious terror of what cannot be seen, only felt, only heard. In chapters 16 through 20, we cross a threshold into the realm of the unseen and the uncanny, where invisible presences and auditory horrors combine to craft a chilling symphony of dread. Forget the flickering shadows and the translucent forms. Here, fear resides in the imperceptible, the whispers that curl around your sanity, the footsteps that echo in empty halls, the subtle shift in the air that speaks of a presence long before any physical manifestation dares to appear. It's the terror of the truly unknown, the ghost that remains maddeningly out of reach, its existence only betrayed by the chilling sounds it leaves in its wake or the profound, inexplicable changes it inflicts upon the very fabric of reality around it. What if the most terrifying ghost is not the one you see, but the one you can only hear, its insidious whispers weaving a narrative of your deepest fears, its unseen touch leaving an indelible mark upon your soul? Let us begin our exploration with the profound impact of stories where the supernatural entity is exclusively heard, never seen. This concept, simple in its premise, is extraordinarily potent in its execution. Conceptually, the power of an unseen presence relies heavily on our innate human tendency to fill in the blanks, to project our worst fears onto an ambiguous canvas. When a ghost is explicitly shown, even if terrifying, its form is defined, its limits understood. But a ghost that is only heard? that entity becomes boundless, amorphous, capable of manifesting in any terrifying shape our minds can conjure. It bypasses our logical, visual processing and directly taps into our primal, instinctual fears. The very absence of visual confirmation forces the listener, and indeed the victim within the story, to confront not just the external threat, but the internal one, the terrifying expanse of their own imagination, which, left unchecked, can be far more monstrous than any tangible specter. The lack of visual proof also makes the experience profoundly isolating, as the victim struggles to convince others of a threat that leaves no visible trace, often leading to self-doubt and the questioning of one's own sanity. A practical example might involve the story of a lone lighthouse keeper, isolated on a craggy outcrop miles from shore. His days are a monotonous cycle of duty, his nights punctuated by the relentless crash of waves against rock. But then, it begins. Faint, mournful cries carried on the wind, seemingly from the swirling mists below, yet sounding unmistakably human. Later, the distinct shuffling of feet ascending the winding iron staircase, stopping just outside his door, the metallic clang of a door latch being slowly depressed, only for him to find nothing there but the cold, damp air. And then, the whispers. Soft, insidious murmurs that seem to weave through the very stone of the lighthouse, sometimes calling his name, sometimes reciting obscure nautical terms or forgotten fragments of old sea shanties. He searches, he checks, he scours every inch of the structure, but finds absolutely no source, no explanation. He begins to barricade his door at night, not against an intruder he can fight, but against a presence he cannot even perceive. He experiences phantom cold spots, inexplicable drops in temperature in the very heart of his small, warm living quarters. The sounds are relentless, yet always just beyond the cusp of full comprehension, leaving him perpetually on edge, his nerves frayed, his sleep stolen. The only evidence is the sound, yet the impact is devastatingly real. Why this matters so profoundly is that it leverages one of our deepest anxieties, the fear of the unknown. An unseen threat is an unbounded threat. It can be anywhere. It can be in Chapters 21 to 25, The Final Chill. Welcome back, fellow travelers into the eerie and the unknown. As we venture into chapters 21 through 25, The Final Chill, prepare yourselves for an anthology's most unsettling conclusions, where the veil between worlds thins to its absolute transparency. We've journeyed through shadows and whispers, but now, we confront the very heart of terror. These are the tales designed to linger, to haunt the periphery of your thoughts long after the final word. They are the stories that question sanity, challenge perception, and often offer no solace. Let's begin by exploring the genius of stories like The Phantom of the Opera. This isn't just a love story, it is a masterclass in psychological manipulation and the terror of the unseen. Conceptually, it represents the alluring power of a hidden tormentor, a presence that warps reality from the shadows. The mystery here is less about who and more about how this entity operates, how deeply it infiltrates the minds and lives of those it targets. The practical example is found in Eric's chilling notes, his unseen orchestrations, the subtle yet devastating disappearances he engineers, all culminating in the horrific moment of his unmasking. That face, a symbol of his inner and outer torment, shatters any illusion of simple human villainy, revealing a creature born of both genius and monstrous pain. Why does this matter? Because it explores the very fabric of obsession, the profound isolation that can twist brilliance into malevolence, and the delicate, often blurred, line between human genius and outright madness. It's the psychological horror of being controlled by an entity you cannot quite grasp, cannot quite see, but whose presence is undeniably felt, suffocating, and omnipresent. This kind of narrative forces us to confront the monstrous capabilities that can lie hidden within the most sophisticated minds, and how easily a vulnerable soul can become prey to such a formidable, invisible force. Then, we turn to the chilling dread of shape-shifting evil, exemplified by tales such as the vampire cat or the classic werewolf narratives. Here, the horror isn't just external, it's a profound violation of the domestic, the intimate, the familiar. Conceptually, these stories tap into ancient curses, the corrupting influence that can transform something beloved into a predatory nightmare. It's the ultimate betrayal, where the monster wears a trusted face. Imagine the dread of a cherished pet transforming into a malevolent entity, or a neighbor, once friendly, now prowling under the full moon with sinister intent. The practical example would be the insidious way such a creature drains life, not always with brute force, but with a horrifying, calculated stealth, leaving behind a trail of unexplained misfortune and death. The struggle often lies in identifying this hidden evil, as it cloaks itself in normalcy, making its detection an agonizing process, fraught with doubt and self-reproach. Why does this deeply resonate? It plays on our primal fear of the unknown contaminating our safe spaces, the corruption of innocence, and the profound dread of a predator living among us, indistinguishable until it is too late. It's a stark reminder that evil often lurks not in grand, obvious forms, but in the subtle, creeping decay of the familiar, turning comfort into a trap, and trust into a deadly vulnerability. As these chapters unfold, we inevitably arrive at the ultimate confrontation between the living and the dead. This is the narrative climax, the moment of truth where skepticism shatters entirely, and direct, undeniable interaction with the supernatural becomes inevitable. It's a fight for survival, for understanding, or sometimes, tragically, for mere acceptance. A practical example here isn't just a jump scare, it's the protagonist, cornered, eyes wide with terror and dawning comprehension, facing down a palpable specter that has tormented them for chapters. It could be a desperate, last-ditch ritual performed under duress, a final, fervent plea for mercy, or even a desperate physical 7-day action plan, becoming a ghost storyteller. Welcome back, intrepid storytellers. You've journeyed through 25 haunting tales, absorbed their secrets, and perhaps even felt a chill or two along the way. But reading a ghost story is merely the prelude to an even more potent experience, telling one. This chapter isn't about passive consumption, it's about active creation, about transforming yourself from an appreciative reader into a captivating ghost storyteller. We're embarking on a practical, 7-day action plan designed to equip you with the essential tools and confidence needed to weave your own spectral narratives. Think of it as your personal apprenticeship, a structured path to mastering the art of the spoken fright. This isn't just theory, it's about doing, about practicing, about stepping into the flickering lamplight and commanding the attention of all who dare to listen. Let's make those hairs stand on end, shall we? Day 1, Atmosphere, the invisible architect of fear. This day focuses on manipulating your environment to create the perfect setting for a ghost story. It's about understanding that the story begins long before you utter the first word. A conceptual explanation for Day 1, Atmosphere is the unspoken prologue to your tale. It's the art of using lighting, sound, and even physical arrangement to prepare your audience's senses. It means consciously controlling the elements around you to foster a sense of unease, intimacy, or impending dread. Silence, in particular, is a powerful, underutilized tool, not just the absence of noise, but a pregnant pause that invites speculation and heightens anticipation. A real-world practical example: imagine gathering your friends in a room lit only by a single, flickering candle or a low-wattage lamp, casting long, dancing shadows. Before you even speak, intentionally let a moment of complete silence hang in the air, allowing the room's subtle creaks and groans to become audible. Perhaps an open window lets in a faint, distant howl of wind. This deliberate setup makes the space feel different, charged with potential. Why it matters: atmosphere primes the audience psychologically. It bypasses their rational defenses and speaks directly to their subconscious. When the environment itself feels eerie, their minds are already open to the supernatural before the story even begins. It creates an immersive container for your narrative, making them more susceptible to every twist and turn, every whisper of dread. It transforms a casual gathering into a ritualistic shared experience. Day 2. The hook. Catching them in your web. Today is all about mastering the art of the opening. How do you grab your audience's attention and never let it go? A conceptual explanation for Day 2. The hook is your story's irresistible bait, the opening line or statement that immediately captivates and demands focus. For ghost stories, this often means beginning with something startling, a bold claim, a chilling question, or an unsettling assertion that immediately plunges listeners into the heart of the mystery or horror. It's about establishing intrigue and demonstrating your command from the very first breath. A real-world practical example: instead of beginning with "Once upon a time," try something like, "I swear on everything I hold dear, what I'm about to tell you is absolutely true, even if I still struggle to believe it myself." Or, "It started with a scream, but not from anyone alive." This kind of opening immediately signals that this isn't just any story, it's a story with profound, personal, and terrifying implications. It cuts straight to the emotional core. Why it matters: in a world of distractions, a powerful hook is non-negotiable. It overcomes initial skepticism and establishes your credibility as a storyteller. It creates an immediate commitment from the audience, making them lean forward, eager to know what happens next. A strong hook dictates the emotional tone and pace for the entire narrative, ensuring you have their undivided, anxious attention from the very beginning. Day 3. The Voice, Your Instinct. Summary: The Anatomy of Fear. Chapter: Summary: The Anatomy of Fear. Welcome back. We've journeyed through 25 chilling narratives. Now, we'll conduct a thematic autopsy of fear, understanding why these tales persist in our human experience. Why willingly court terror, safe in our beds? Its controlled catharsis. The thrill of confronting the unknown, exploring the forbidden, all from safety. Imagine a stormy night, reading a cursed tale. You invite the chill, knowing it won't touch you. This allows us to rehearse responses to danger, process anxieties, and confront fears: loss, death without real consequence. We emerge reaffirmed in our security. Our journey revealed recurring themes: guilt, greed, love, and revenge. These aren't just plot devices, they are human anchors, magnified by the supernatural. A spectral hand manifests guilt. A greedy prospector driven mad by cursed treasure. Enduring love, a spectral protector. Chilling revenge from a wronged spirit. These themes ground the fantastical, forcing us to confront moral failings. They are universal lessons cloaked in the supernatural. These classic stories shaped modern horror. They established archetypes: vengeful ghost, haunted house, innocent victim. They perfected narrative structures: slow psychological dread, unsettling atmosphere, not just overt violence. Consider James's The Turn of the Screw, where horror is implied, what the mind conjures. This informs contemporary thrillers. Understanding these narratives is crucial, showing how timeless anxieties are reinterpreted. Finally, the true ghost story is never over, it lingers. Beyond a jump scare, it seeps into your consciousness, subtly changing how you perceive a dark hallway or sudden draft. It sparks debate about the afterlife, or makes you question reality. That narrative, staying with you, transcends entertainment. It signifies a story's ultimate power, connecting with primal fears, challenging our world understanding, and leaving an indelible mark. It becomes part of our personal lore. CTA, pass the torch. Welcome back, or perhaps, welcome to the very edge of your seat, where the final echoes of our 25 chilling tales begin to fade. You've journeyed with me through shadowed corridors, whispered secrets, and the unsettling silence that follows a sudden, inexplicable sound. You've felt the phantom chill, the prickle of unease that signifies a truly good ghost story has found its mark. But the journey isn't truly over when the last word is spoken. The most potent stories, the ones that truly sink their hooks, demand something more. They demand to be shared. They yearn to become a part of your world, to be passed from one weary soul to another, just as ancient campfire tales were once whispered into the flickering darkness. This is not merely an ending, it is an invitation. An invitation to engage, to connect, and, yes, to pass the torch. To carry these spectral narratives forward, ensuring their lingering presence extends far beyond these audio waves. The first way you can engage with the spectral tapestry we've woven is profoundly simple, yet immensely powerful, by sharing your honest feedback. If 25 Ghost Stories has succeeded in its chilling mission, if it's made your skin crawl or forced you to glance over your shoulder, then I implore you, take a moment to rate it. A conceptual explanation: ratings are more than just numbers, they are lighthouses for future listeners. For horror, a high rating, especially with words like terrifying or gave me chills, is the ultimate commendation. It's a signal to those who seek the thrill of the supernatural. Your rating validates what we created, a collection designed to genuinely disturb, to linger in your mind. A real-world practical example: imagine browsing audiobooks late one night. You find 25 ghost stories. What draws you in? Often, it's positive ratings. A 5-star rating with a comment like, "Couldn't listen after dark. So good," or "truly bone-chilling," speaks volumes. It's an authentic endorsement, guiding another brave soul to a similar eerie encounter. Why it matters: deep dive. Your rating is an act of validation for the countless hours poured into these narratives, ensuring our efforts to evoke genuine dread resonated. It confirms the shared experience of fear was successfully transmitted. Beyond that, every rating supports the broader genre of horror audiobooks, encouraging more creators. You participate in a cultural exchange with fellow connoisseurs of the macabre, ensuring the legacy of ghost stories thrives for new generations ready to embrace the shadows. Your simple act helps illuminate the path for others eager to join our circle of shared chills. Now, let's delve deeper into the interactive potential of our community. While these 25 tales are born from imagination, the most potent ghost stories often root in personal experience. We invite you, dear listener, to share your own encounters with the unexplained within the review section. A conceptual explanation: this isn't just about audiobook feedback, it's about opening a new dimension of engagement. The review section can transform into a shared campfire, a digital gathering place where individuals feel safe to recount their own uncanny experiences. It's where the veil between narrated tales and your lived reality can thin, allowing a fascinating interplay of fiction and personal anecdote. By inviting these narratives, we acknowledge the profound human need to grapple with the inexplicable. Your story, however small, adds another thread to the paranormal tapestry that binds us. A real-world practical example: imagine scrolling through reviews, not just for stars, but for the comments. You might find a review beginning, "The story about the old house reminded me of something that happened in my grandmother's attic," followed by a subtle, chilling incident, a toy moving on its own, a whispered name, an unexplained cold spot. These personal accounts, nestled amongst critiques, create a new layer of immersion. They transform listening into active participation in the bro. Thank you for listening to this audiobook. If you found value, meaning, or inspiration in this journey, please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next chapter. Your support helps us bring more timeless classics to life. See you in the next reading.